Hey, I think it's working.
Oh, we're live.
Yes.
I just wrote my why I'm thankful. Okay. hmm Oh, I need to. It's been so long. We can't have these breaks because now I'm looking. I'm not even looking at you. Like, how do we do? Am I usually on the other side?
Mm, I don't know. It,
No,
it it
no.
looks about right for me. So
Yes. If I do this with my notes over my face, then I look at you when I look at my notes. Right? I'm looking at
okay.
you now. Am I not?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Great. And let's see if we can get a reaction.
Oh, we're going to misuse this a lot, I guess.
I am such a misuser of this.
Woo. Party mode engaged.
We lost all our viewers.
It's not
Okay.
like we ever had some, right?
Well, it looked like there was two people at some point, but who? Anyway,
Whatever.
whatever. Are we recording though? We haven't done this in a while. Did you set the right recording
I think I did.
settings?
Yes, it says uploading, and there was this local recording thingy. Um,
hmm
so I guess should be fine.
Yes. Well, then we're good. I just yeah, I see the recording. I was just that's typical when you haven't done something in a while and suddenly we don't record.
Yes. Well, we see. Maybe we
Okay.
messed something up and we didn't realize, but I
Yes.
guess we'll know soon.
Okay. Hit it.
Okay. Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Benedict, and I'm feeling determined. And I stole that from a month ago.
Is that how I felt a month ago? Interesting. And I'm
Or
but
maybe it was me. I don't know. I'm still
yeah.
like I'm either feeling determined as well, or like still feeling determined. Whatever.
Yes. And I'm Benedicta. Today is October 17th. 17th. This is episode number 190 and I'm feeling thankful.
Oh, that's a nice feeling.
It is. It is a nice feeling and I've been or I guess grateful is what I've been saying on Twitter where I've been sharing little moments of getting access to people's boats and mountain cabins to just like chill in nature, I guess, which I've
That's
needed.
nice.
It's very
I'm
nice.
I'm a little bit like you posted photos. I'm a little bit envious. So
Mm-hmm.
you're doing good.
Doing good. Well, I kind of crashed into the fall holiday where I was just like, I'm gonna take a fall holiday. Ula and Lillian, my family, they were going to a mountain without me, and I was just gonna crank out some work. Ended up just being very sad that my mom is ill. And for those who don't know, my mom has Alzheimer, and just kind of like crashed into
Mhm.
my vacation. And then at the end of that vacation, we went to our friend who has a boat, and we didn't go out with a boat even. We just like sat on the deck and looked at the sunset and stayed overnight and just like chilled the F out, which was
Nice.
what I should have been doing the whole vacation because it was a vacation. But yeah, but those things just happen. So it's like a roller. I've read grief is like a roller coaster. Like it just like comes out of nowhere, and it's just gonna keep
Yeah.
on being like that for another 5 to 7 years. So, yay me.
Yay. Well, that's the spirit, I guess.
But that's where you're grateful for people are just like, "Well, why don't you just come to my cabin this weekend and just like look at trees and mountain and let's go for a hike and just eat some good food and um
Mhm.
just very nice." So I went to the mountains this last weekend with two friends from university. So that's also nice to
Mm,
have.
nice.
One flew in from Zurich, and then the other one, it was her cabin, and we just hang out, and it was very nice. So grateful or thankful for the folks in my life who are just yes, come and chill. We're gonna take care of you. It's fine. So that's
That's
super
cool.
duper. Yeah. But why are you so determined once again?
Once again, I'm just like, I feel like we are in crunch mode these days. Just getting stuff done and getting stuff shipped, or at least trying to. But before I get into the details, there's one important thing I wanted to mention. And if you remember, we've been talking about Section 174 changes in the US tax law earlier this year. And unfortunately, there hasn't been much movement
I thought
in
we
getting
won
this
that. I
resolved.
was like sure that has resolved itself. No.
Unfortunately, it has not. Apparently,
No.
there's big support in getting those changes rolled back. And I mean, quick side note: if you're not familiar with this, it's basically U.S. tax law says that you have to amortize and capitalize expenses for software development, starting with the tax returns for 2022. There's some, I don't
This
know.
year.
Last year, basically, for last
Oh,
year. So
last
in the
year.
current
Sorry,
tax
we're
returns.
2023.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
2023. If you have a US-based business, you probably also already had to deal with this. And it's basically saying, when you do software development, you have to, like, you're probably paying people, and the expenses for that have to be amortized over, for US contractors or employees, over 5 years, and for international over 15 years. So instead of being able to deduct this entirely in 2022, you're now spreading it over 5 to 15 years. But all of it is
Which means
pretty
it's
hand wavy and wishy-washy.
so that means it seems like a company is making more profit than it actually is, because it's
Yes.
paying many people salary, but they're not allowed to deduct that from their profit, making them more profitable, having to pay more tax on profits they don't have,
Exactly.
because they don't
Exactly.
have that money because they paid their employees that money. Yes,
Exactly.
just
That's a
to
great
spell it
summary.
out. Yeah. And what's
Yes.
happening now? You're not.
Like, there's some guidance. Like, I think last month there was some guidance around like what counts as R&D expense and stuff like that, and it's still super unclear. And some people are arguing this way, some people are arguing that way. Long story short, no one really knows how to deal with this, and everyone's taking different approaches. But apparently, politicians mostly agree that this was a stupid idea and that it should be rolled back. There's a bill in the process where they're basically rolling it back, but it hasn't been voted on. And the reason for that is complicated US politics I don't fully understand and don't want to get into. Thing is, so far, nothing has been rolled back. It's still stuck in the process. And earlier this year, we encouraged everyone who's based in the US to sign a letter by Michelle Hanson's SSB Alliance. And there's now a second letter, like similar thing, letter to Congress by a different organization. And the big change or big difference to that is that you can sign this letter even though you're not a US citizen. So, for example, with the previous letter, I wasn't allowed to sign this. But with this one, I can sign it because I own a US business, US based business. Basically, asking Congress to roll back the changes and stuff like
Get
that.
their act together, basically.
Get their act together. And long story short, go to ssballiance.org, sign the letter, even if you have signed the first one, because this is a different one. And if you own a US-based business but aren't a US citizen and not living in the US, please also sign this letter. You need a VPN to do this, but please sign it no matter what. So that's the first thing I wanted to get out there before I get into anything else. So why am I feeling determined? As I said, like, we are shipping a lot of stuff. It's been 4 weeks since we last talked, since the last episode came out. So back then I was working on migrating our sending infrastructure to a new provider. That project is done. Actually, it was done by the end of the week we recorded. And I had initially planned to stretch this out a little longer, but then the renewal date with our old provider was coming up, and I was like, am I really going to pay for another month? And I was like, no, I'm not. And if there are problems, we will know no matter what. So the day before, like, I decided it had been running in testing mode, like for our account, a couple of small accounts for the prior 2 weeks without big problems or without any problems, to be honest. So that evening I was like, okay, now let's just switch everything over. And it went great. No problems. We are sending over new infrastructure. We now have dedicated IP addresses for everyone. So now, like, if there is a spammer, then it's a spammer using our system, and that's someone on the email service provider misusing them. So we have more control over that. Overall, I think deliverability should go up as a result of that. And overall, super happy. I feel like the new setup is way more robust. Just today, we also added bounce and spam complaint tracking. So in reports now and in the message feed or the event feed. So overall, better feature in every way possible.
Woo!
And yeah, it's done.
Oh, I mean, for the people only listening, I'm just playing with my Mac native reactions.
You get like
fireworks
nice
for Benedict and some confetti.
You can check out the actual effects on YouTube, I guess.
Yes.
So that happened, well, basically 3 weeks ago. And then the following week, I left for Lisbon for MicroConf Europe specifically. And
so jealous. Yes.
It was awesome. I mean, it's MicroConf. It's always kind of awesome. But from all the great MicroConfs I've been to, this was one of the better ones.
La 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 la.
So the venue was nice. It was a super posh hotel. It was ridiculously expensive, at least for my standards. But at least the experience kind of matched the price. But also, it was right at the seaside in Lisbon, so there was water when you were looking out of the window. There was lots of restaurants and stuff around the conference hotel, so like in the evening going out with other attendees and having a nice evening was not a problem whatsoever. I met a lot of nice old friends, made a lot of new friends. A couple of listeners approached me and we're talking about the podcast. So apparently people are still listening to this one. So I'm super thankful for that. It was nice to get some feedback, basically. And in terms of the conference itself, I feel like I took more notes during this conference and during these talks than I did in previous years. But talking to people, I feel like it's tough to measure quality of a conference by that, because so much depends on the state you're currently at, the problems you're currently facing. Earlier today, I talked with a friend who was like, the talks were kind of boring. I didn't take anything out of them. And I was like, what? I took a ton of notes.
I think that is really hard when you work with kind of, that type of businesses, because what you need at different stages are so different. And for things that, and before you've experienced a couple of things, you're like listening to one talk and you might be thinking like, well, of course, like, why wouldn't you do it like that? And then like 5 years later, you're like, yes, that's what I was supposed to remember.
Exactly.
When so what, any big takeaways that you want to share that you're gonna...
Well, a lot of like small stuff just from conversations as well. I particularly enjoyed Rob Walling's talk about applying content marketing to the 5 stages of awareness and the buying process, basically from totally unaware to problem aware to solution aware to most aware, stuff like that. And specific content marketing tactics you can do for each of those stages. And I took a lot of notes during that talk, even though we got a lot of shout outs in this talk as well. I think he mentioned user list 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 times. I don't quite remember,
Hey.
as like a good example. And I was always like making notes. Yeah, that's a good idea. We should totally do this. Why didn't we think of that? And then he was like, hey, user list is doing this. And I was like, we are? I didn't consider this particularly good, but thank you. So long story short, I feel like yes, we might be doing some of that, but we can like be more thoughtful and more strategic with some of this stuff. So that was a really good talk. I also enjoyed Einar Volset's talk about using AI and ChatGPT for like not in your product, but like for back office stuff. And he showed a little bit of stuff he basically had a good example of using ChatGPT and specifically its advanced data analysis tools, where you can basically upload an Excel sheet and then not just ask it questions, but have it build like a machine learning model of sorts.
Whoa.
That you then can that you can like have a conversation with it. It builds the model for you, teaches you about like machine learning stuff in general. And then at the end, you get a file you can download to run the model locally without having to refer back to ChatGPT. And that was kind of amazing. And he had some nice examples about one like doing basically pricing analysis and stuff like that. You usually pay consultants a lot of money for. And the other thing was something with using data from, for example, BuildWith to score a list of leads and figure out like which of these leads are the most valuable to you,
or potentially valuable,
and that was also super interesting. Not just like that specific use case, but like just seeing what's possible. And I made a note to look into this more, and obviously I haven't looked into this more, but like the note is still there.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were my 2 highlight talks, and then as usual, the hallway track was pretty great. And what was also nice this time is my wife joined me for the conference.
Nice.
Which has been a while. So we also tacked on a little bit of a vacation, like 2 days before and 2 days after. Did some sightseeing in Lisbon. Went to the aquarium, which was quite nice and impressive. And on the last day, like the morning before we left for the airport, we did a dolphin watching tour, and that was also kind of nice.
I hear it's very awe-inspiring to watch dolphins, or like you get that like nature is amazing feeling.
Yep.
Or I haven't seen them. I just hear people talking about dolphins. It sounds like they're seeing like outer-worldly things when they talk about dolphins.
Well, outer-worldly, I'm not entirely sure about that, but it was super nice. It was basically like a small speedboat type of thing, and we went out into the Atlantic Ocean. And it took us like 90 minutes or so to actually find some dolphins. But then
I think that's part of it. Like the anticipation. Will we find them? Will we not find them? And then you find them, you get the dopamine hit, and then they're supposedly pretty cute and playful, and you're like, whoa, yeah.
Yay. And then we even found another species. So we got a lot of dolphins that day. And it was pretty nice. So I can totally recommend it. Apparently, they're very common around Lisbon. And I talked to the guy who did the tour, and he said, like, usually they find them within 30 minutes. So it took longer than usually. And I think they only had 5 tours in the last 3 years where they didn't find any. At least that's what they are saying. But it was a lot of fun. So, yeah. Anything else?
Life is good, it sounds like.
At least life is nice and it's moving forward. And
winter is coming. Have you gotten your fake sun lamp set up?
Not yet, but I'm relying on my like 2 key lights on the desk to do this.
Not the same.
it is, isn't it? I
I
mean,
don't know. It
it
might be.
should be.
I just feel like it's not. I feel like because we have one of those sun lights to wake you up in the morning. I don't know if that gives you D vitamin, but there's some like the true daylight lamps actually make you produce D vitamin,
Yeah.
like the
I
sun.
think the key lights should do this as well because they are
Okay,
true light, but whatever.
we need to check
I
this out.
probably
Yeah.
I probably set up the other lamp as well sometime soon.
hmm
It's still like
hmm
when I get up, it's still sunny, but that's going to change soon.
Oh, not here. It's yeah, nope. We
Yeah.
are getting up in the dark already, so or like yeah, it's dark, but
Yeah.
it's
Anyways.
getting darker. That's all. It's getting darker. So we got to prepare so we don't suddenly feel depressed because it's dark. Got to be
Yeah.
ahead of this.
Thanks for the reminder. I think we should at least set it up. We don't necessarily have to turn it on just yet, but it should be
Yeah.
at least there to do it.
Yeah. And this is also a reminder to me because I never really bought one of them because I also just have a key light. But I haven't felt the winter depression as bad. But with everything going on, like I think I should just like double up on anything that can make me feel as good as I can. So I'm gonna go and buy one of those as well. That is not connected to Wi-Fi, by the way. I'm just gonna get a
Just a
straight up
simple
lamp.
one. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, ours is
Well.
pretty stupid as well. You just turn it on. And it sits nicely on the dining table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm a major. Do they call it in the region? It's Ludit. I don't know what the English word is. It's like when you become anti-technology. It's like it's
Mm,
Luddite or Lud. I don't know how you would pronounce it in
I don't know.
English. Yeah, and I'm feeling like I'm just getting worse and worse. Where I'm like getting a new. I've probably said this before, but now we have to get a new washing machine because one of them broke. And I was like, I want one without an app, no Wi-Fi, and just like, and I was talking to my friends in the mountains. They're like, you can't get washing machines without, they're all on Wi-Fi. You don't have to use it. I'm like, there has to be like the cheaper ones probably don't. And I've been starting to use more like VA resources these days. So I was like,
Mhm.
find me a washing machine. I went to Miele washing machine with no Wi-Fi, and she found one. And I
Nice.
was like, to my friends, I was like, it exists, and I'm gonna die on this hill where I'm not gonna have Wi-Fi. Nobody is gonna be able to ping. Well, they probably put a 3G something in there, like a 4G card in there. Like I don't want I don't want Miele to be able to shut down my washing machine for some weird, insane reason. Like I want it to
Right.
work as long as it has power. I
Yes.
just
There seems to be a washing machine conspiracy going on because I feel like you're the third or fourth person um, that bought a new washing machine, myself included, in the last couple
Mm.
of weeks.
Okay. Yes, because I felt like we're doing this major cleanup in our house. Also paying people for the I'm on this like, why have I spent money on courses and coaching? Like spend money on people, everyone. That's how you
Right.
free up and get more done. Like I don't have to become better. I just need help.
Yes.
So I read the buy back your time. I guess I read it after I was already starting to do this again because I do these things in waves, and it's just like so freeing. Because listeners of the podcast know that I've been doing some remodeling in my mother's part of the house, and found boxes of boxes of boxes of boxes of things that have been left there from my grandmother, my grandfather, and like other things that nobody in the family wanted to like do anything about. In addition to just like straight up trash, right? So I found through this like weird cosmic something, I was looking at this like Visa Women's Business Grant, and I clicked on that, and I was like, oh, I'm wondering who got this before. Clicked, and it was like this lady who has a business that helps people organize their houses. And I'm like, yes,
Nice.
yes. I didn't
Sign
think
me
it
up.
existed. I didn't think it existed in Norway. So I was like, and then I was just really, really doing it because then I like texted my VA. I was like, set me up an appointment with this lady.
Yeah. Nice.
And it happened, and it's been awesome. So I just want a little tip from the frontier when there's too much in your family life and your business life, you can actually offload a lot of the personal stuff that is not as fun. Like, I'd rather spend time on my business than going through old boxes. And we've talked about it before. It just feels more logical to spend money in your business, but spend money outside your business too. It's if you have it, of course, and you have the opportunity to do that. But
Yeah.
I'd rather actually push code down at the bank than look through those boxes. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, and also just like, yes, spend money on help is actually much more, unlocks a lot more potential than a lot of the courses. And like, because then it's just you have to be better, while now it's like I don't have to be better, people can help me be.
Like just being better also doesn't give you more time, right? So
No, exactly. And it's the buy back your time, and then also a book called 4,000 Weeks. I think I mentioned it before, where he kind of makes the case. It's a plot twist. It's sold as a productivity book, but then kind of the plot twist is maybe you just shouldn't be so productive. Because if you are productive, you just get more on your plate. So it's like
yeah.
then you never become, you never have time to go to the mountains and sit and look at the trees, because you'll just have to, like, if I just finish my to-do list, I can do that, and your to-do list is never ever gonna be empty. So
Yes, that's very true.
yes, so those two books I highly recommend for some peace of mind, I guess, or some different perspectives.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very jealous about the microconf. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us from that? Or share? I mean,
No, I think
no?
that's it with the microconf
Yeah.
recap. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So what did you do while I was partying at microconf?
I was on a boat, and then I was on a cab. No, just kidding.
Fair enough.
I've been DevRelling for Outsera. So I've been working with Framer, and that work is like coming to an end. And then we got a lot of support requests on Next by Vercel, which I have this, like, I just don't like them at all. But when your customers are asking questions, you have to check it out. So I actually checked out and ran my first Next project. I think it was like a week ago or something, and managed to help our customer. So I'm also working then on creating a Next demo, which is cool. And then Jeff and James went to Webflow conferences. So they had Webflow conference in London, New York, and San Francisco, I think. Yes. And on the one in New York, Jeff kind of just somebody came up and like, oh, we use Outsera, you should come to our session. And he was like, okay. He went to their session, and basically their session was like, how we built this amazing business using Outsera. And like, Outsera is great and everybody should use Outsera. And
Nice.
Jeff was like, okay. So he got a lot of, like, coming back from that, he was like, yes. And there's also been this thing where Webflow has been building their own membership software, but they're not building their own membership software anymore. So they're going to lean on partners. So that all kind of is coming together very nicely for us at Outsera. And also then it's easier to partner, of course, with them, since they're not building a competitor to what we are making. And then we've also had some customers that have just like gone from zero to making a lot of money in a short amount of time. And that really shows for us, since we take a percentage, very tiny, but we do take a percentage of the money that is run through Outsera. So like seeing these business cases working out, and also showing that the business model, I feel like the business model of Outsera is working out. Like, people coming on and using all the features and then running all their payments through us. It's like we can see that over time it actually stacks up. So that's kind of fun.
That's the best type of stuff, like being successful when your customers are successful.
Exactly. And also when they're that enthusiastic about your product. I wish I'd been there, because it's like,
Yes.
it's fun to see somebody just like he said, he came up to him afterwards and was just like, yeah, just like kept on being, super, super excited about our
That's
product.
awesome.
Yeah. And it's also nice that customers do that, right? Because you do have customers who do get success who are like, yeah, of course I use this tool, and like all tools should just work, and obviously they should, but it's very nice when people take the time to like tell you that they really enjoy your product. Like it
Yes, yes.
spreads joy, and it's something I try to just remember in my everyday life now. I went to the Google offices in Oslo for the first time. So I tweeted this, that I went to a Google office for the first time, and I realized it sounded like I was going to be doing that more often. I have not gotten a job at Google, but my friend works at Google, and we had lunch there before going to the mountains. And the lunch was amazing. This is even the tiny Oslo office, and it lived up to all the hype that I've heard from Google offices. It was this like great chef that was making food, and I just like on the way out, I was like, the tacos were, really good, and like thank you and stuff like that. And we were talking about that afterwards with my friend. That's like probably because having your own business, I don't know, or it's just like a personality thing, but like he got so happy that I said that and I meant it, and like I was really happy because I got really good food and also like a really fun conversation. Like he told us about the food, and then we bantered about something, and then on the way out I was like, oh, and by the way, it was really good. And and she was like, yeah, maybe I should do more of that, because she also saw like how happy, and I'm just like, joy all around. Like it works,
Yeah,
instead of thinking, oh, that was really good food, which doesn't help anybody that you think that it was that was good. So I also try to remember to like actually say this out loud. And at the bank job, we're really good in our team to actually be appreciative of what the other people do. And I find that it's really helpful in our team, because we have this one guy who's like, I'll put it into Jira for you. I know you don't like Jira. I'm like, thank you. That is awesome. That
that
makes
is
me so
awesome indeed.
happy.
Yes.
That makes me so happy. So it's like nice to just share the joy, I guess. I don't know. I'm getting sappy in old age, but I think it's helpful in our day to just be a little
Yes, totally.
share it when you feel it.
Yeah, like appreciate people and appreciate people that help you and stuff like that. Yeah.
Hmm. So on my last note is just that we are moving forward with our Building Public project. We have some really good leads to work with, so hopefully it will all come
Nice.
to fruition. We've decided to use Astro for Mixpod, which is the new project where you can make a mixtape of podcast episodes. Um, and we are like working through like how can this work with the workload we already have, and also be beneficial to the people sponsoring the project. Because what I learned when we did Preneur Follows is that if you make it if we were going to make it more as a business, it would make sense to kind of build it fairly quickly, while when you're doing it more for kind of educational and awareness and those kinds of things, spreading it out in time actually makes sense. So we're thinking about doing a regular bi-weekly stream, and we're going to do it Saturday morning because Lillian wants to be a part of it. And we've realized that Thursday nights are just too hard on the family.
Hmm.
So we're going to do it Saturday mornings for the regular stream. And then we'll kind of have experts on in between. So if the sponsoring tech has somebody that can help us utilize their tech, then they can come on at a time that works for them. And then from the live streams, we can then make audiograms or like videograms. I don't know if you call them videograms, but like snippets from
Yep.
the shows. And then kind of, because we've been listening through some of the old Data in the Wild episodes, and we can find like 4 or 5 snippets from each if we wanted to, like if we took the time to make that many. So then we can make maybe 5 or more snippets from each episode or each stream, and then put that into the world in between the streaming times. And then suddenly making Mixpod will probably take us 3 months if we do it in that way. To like like a version that can be published, and maybe do a product hunt launch and all of that just for fun. And it just felt good.
You
Like
should actually make it part of the streams and stuff like that.
product hunt.
Yes.
Yes.
Preparing
that would
for
be cool.
that, setting up the stuff, then posting it, like doing it the entire way, I guess.
Yeah, so that's also one of the things we've been like. Our first stream will be planning the project and being like, okay, what do we need to do first? Like, we need to test some things first, because I'm not 100% sure we can make this. Right? Hopefully we can, otherwise it will be very boring sponsoring us. Then we'll have to pivot and do something else. But so planning and being like, okay, which things do we need to kind of validate works before we start thinking about the user interface or like the UX and stuff. And then planning it all out, and even including I hadn't thought about that, but even including that product hunt piece, then you get the full cycle, right? And then maybe we could do like a 24-hour live stream while product hunt is going on.
Something like that. Yeah, why not? I think it would be fun.
Yeah, anyway, so I think, and also at this point, I think we'll just start even if we don't have all the sponsored lined up, because we're not going to be needing a database until like the third stream or fourth stream, because the first ones will be more experimenting. So we'll just kind of get this started, and then hopefully we'll get some of these sponsors landed. Yeah, so that's cool.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, so I feel like things are, and I don't know, it's like finally embracing slow and steady, right? Where it's like, okay, instead of trying to like do this massive thing all at once, it's not good for me, but also it's not really good for the, like, I realize it's not really good for the sponsors, because like we send them like 20 clips in like 2 weeks. Like, what are they going to do with that? Like, we all need time to get this stuff out. So yeah, I've learned that less is more, or whatever, slow and I don't know, some kind of thing. But it's like, oh, we can make this all work, and like I can still, I can do the outside work, and I can maybe work a little bit less at the bank, but it can all work together. So
sounds exciting.
It's not super exciting working for enterprise, but like the team is so nice. I really, really like the team, and we have so much fun, and that's worth something. Like, just going down, chatting with them for lunch, and like having somewhere to go. It's been it's better for me. And I know, Kim, you're listening, so thank you for being an amazing team member. Yeah, that's it. But sappy me. Like, oh, people are so nice. No, but it is true. Like, I would never have stayed this. My plan was like 6 months, and we're almost at a year. So
has it been a year already? Wow.
In February, it's going to be a year, so not a full year. But like, I can see that I'm there until February at least. So yeah. So that's mostly the team and how nice we are to each other.
Very cool.
Yeah. Anything more on your end?
No, I think that's it.
Because you said that the infrastructure migration, but how was the visual workflow builder?
Yeah, it's making progress. We got a first version up and running internally, and we're currently polishing that very first simple version. And then we're planning to add more features to it. So I will probably sharing more in the next episode. Let's see.
Yeah.
Determined. We're
determined.
It's making progress, and it's going to be super cool.
Oh, I can't wait to battle test it.
Oh, yes.
I gotta make these lines go in all kinds of directions.
You can try. You can definitely try.
Yeah, I must say, like, if anybody ever wants me to make a video for them, because I'm making 2 videos at the moment, like, if you don't want bug reports, like, please don't hire me.
But if you want bug reports, please.
If you want bug reports, it seems like I manage, like, I'm like, oh, what if I do this? It's like, no, just like, why can't you just do the straight up solution? It's just gonna show the happy path. But like, oh well, better if I do it like this. And it's like, oh, why doesn't that work? Like expected.
You know what? I might just enable the workflow thingy on your account and then see how you can break it. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
Now I
after stream.
promise. Now I promise to break things, but it's a little annoying when making videos because it's like, oh, I'm gonna record, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't record because now I found something, and then it's like, yeah.
But yeah, I'm related to that, or actually, I found that like trying to record like a small video showcasing a feature is a good way to test your feature.
Yes.
Because suddenly you realize that there are like small problems or small annoyances or even outright bugs that don't work, that you don't realize, like they don't happen, or you don't accidentally click on stuff or whatever while just doing some manual testing. But when you want to showcase it, you want to show the entire thing in proper order, smoothly, without any glitches. And when that's the task, like more stuff pops up than when you're just like aimlessly clicking around trying to break stuff.
Yes. And I also think it's because you at the same time explain. That's the nature of the video, right? You explain what you're doing, and then suddenly you're realizing that, oh, I usually like do 3 things here because it never works, but I just do it and I don't even think about it. But when you're like
Yep.
explaining it, you're like, yeah, and then I do these weird things to make it work.
Yep.
That's not how it should be. Oh,
Yep.
yep. No,
Good point.
definitely a hot tip, people. Even if you're not gonna publish them, try to make a video of your features.
Yes. Highly recommended.
Highly recommend. I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's it for this week. See you around the interwebs.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Click the button, click the button, click